AI tools like Cursor, V0, Lovable are completely changing the way that we code, but not in the way most people think. They're a massive productivity booster, but they are not a replacement for learning how to code. My name's Kenny. This video is part one of my series on vibe coding for beginners. And in this video, we're going to be talking about the philosophy of vibe coding and why I think it's massively important that you still actually understand how to code if you want to be a good vibe coder. The first thing I want to talk about is this concept of the 70% problem. There's a developer called Adi Osmani that's talked about this quite a bit. And the 70% problem can basically be summed up as if you're vibe coding without the context and background of actually knowing how to code and just letting the AI tool handle everything for you, you're probably going to be able to get about 70% to a working application. That last 30% ends up taking a ton of time, and most people end up giving up during that last 30% anyway. AI coding tools and vibe coding in the traditional sense of just throwing prompts out and seeing what happens are great for demos, they're great for hype, they're great for building like super simple toy applications, but for anything that you actually want to turn into any kind of business or a product that you can deliver for a client or something that you want to be able to reliably use at your job, or really anything that you want to be able to actually have be a robust, usable tool, that's when you need to understand how to actually code in order for it to make the biggest difference and be able to actually build things that are worth using and not just play around. There are two types of AI coders. There are the YOLOers and there are the iterators. The YOLOers are the ones that just throw prompts at the AI tools and they just keep copying and pasting error codes or screenshots and just asking the AI, fix this, fix this, fix this, add this. But they don't really actually understand what's actually happening under the hood. They're not really intentionally building anything. They have a vague, big picture idea in their head and they just want to throw everything at the AI until it works. And sometimes that can build something that's like semi-usable, but you are never going to build a like full-fledged, robust, usable product doing that. If you watch experienced developers versus brand new developers use these AI tools, you'll notice a big difference in their actual workflows. You'll notice that the newer, unexperienced developers will just throw prompts at the AI, kind of that YOLOer approach. But the more experienced developers will use this more iterative approach, where instead of asking the AI to build this entire thing and then trying to just randomly copy and paste errors and just throw prompts until things seem and feel like they're working, what they'll actually do is they'll have the AI do small little pieces. So instead of saying, build me a Slack clone, they might build one component at a time. And then they'll actually look at what that code is and they will ask the AI to adjust things based on what it generates. This is the right way to vibe code. This is the sweet spot of vibe coding, where you're serving as like the high level overlord or architect of the code that you're writing. You're letting the AI handle the step-by-step execution and implementation, but you are the one that's actually controlling what the direction of the code is, and you're the one giving the AI specific prompts on what to change based on what you see. But you can't do that effectively unless you fundamentally understand the code that the AI is actually generating. And that brings us to my golden rule of vibe coding. Always understand everything the AI is generating. If you follow that one rule, you're going to be an amazing vibe coder. You're going to be able to build some amazing stuff. Yes, you are going to move a little bit slower than somebody that's just throwing prompts at it and seeing what sticks, but you're going to be able to then actually build real usable things by doing it that way. One of the key things you want to keep in mind when learning how to vibe code is you want to avoid falling into this knowledge paradox. I actually think that AI is a bigger boost to experienced developers than it is to inexperienced developers, unless those inexperienced developers approach it the right way. But what tends to happen is that developers that already have experience understand that AI is an augmentation to their abilities. It's not a replacement for their abilities and their skills and their knowledge. They understand that it's a productivity booster and they can use it to amplify what they're creating, but they're not using it as a replacement for the knowledge. Whereas brand new coders and all the people on the hype train will try to tell you that you can use AI instead of having coding knowledge. And I think that is fundamentally flawed, because what happens then is then you use AI as a crutch to avoid learning the fundamentals. Instead, your approach should be to use AI to learn the fundamentals and still be actually developing the skill set of AI powered or AI assisted development. But you want to be doing it in a way where you actually understand what's happening. And you can do that by just ensuring that you always follow that golden rule of vibe coding, understanding what the code is actually being generated is doing. So I've got a couple core philosophies and core beliefs when it comes to vibe coding. First, vibe coding is not a replacement for learning how to code. It's an amplifier. So you need to actually understand the fundamentals of coding if you want to be an effective vibe coder. Two, if you follow the golden rule of vibe coding, always understand what the code is generating, you're going to be in good shape. And three, AI has massively lowered the barrier to entry to start building, which means that I strongly believe that right now, if you can find that sweet spot and avoid the extremes of I don't need to know how to code at all, I can just throw prompts at the AI, and the other extreme of AI is bad and it always produces crap and I'm never going to use it. If you can find that sweet spot of I'm going to understand the AI is a tool and a productivity enhancer, but it's not a replacement for my coding knowledge, and I'm actually going to still understand how to code and learn how to really build things, learn the fundamental practices of good development and good programming, whatever you might be building. If you can find that sweet spot, I think that right now is one of the most exciting times to ever learn how to code that we've ever been through. And so that's why I'm building this series called Vibe Coding for Beginners. This is video 1 in it, where I kind of wanted to give you the overview of my philosophy on vibe coding. By the way, my name's Kenny. I've been a developer for a little over 10 years. I'm a developer relations professional full-time, so I spend most of my time teaching developers how to build stuff. And I'm really, really excited about AI and coding. And because of that, I'm also building a 30-day AI coding challenge. The link is down in the description. If you want to join that, you can. Comes with the content itself. Basically, you'll build a little bit every day for the course of 30 days, and you'll learn all the fundamentals of programming along the way. You'll have access to me, a community of builders kind of doing the same thing, so the link's down in the description. But this series is going to kind of cover the fundamentals of vibe coding for beginners. And so in the next video, what we're going to do is we're actually going to get hands-on and we're going to go into Cursor, and I'm going to kind of show you what my workflow looks like for actually building stuff. What we're not going to do is we're not going to try to one-shot prompt it and say, build me this entire thing, and then just try to pick and choose where we're fixing errors. We're actually going to go through a structured approach to actually building things from the ground up. And throughout that process and throughout the next set of videos, we're going to be kind of learning the fundamentals of vibe coding. But in the next one, we're going to open up Cursor, and I'm going to actually show you the high-level process and high-level overview of how I go about building things. So with that said, thanks so much for watching. Appreciate your time, and I will see you in the next video.